Hey everybody, let me start out with this. Is it possible that there are some lies that we've accepted since birth and maybe have just accepted and perpetuated over so many years that the lies seem true? And is it possible that if we do know that there are some lies that we have been susceptible to and we believe them, hasn't maybe affected our ability to live our best version of life as we believe it should be led? And I believe that is the case. So, welcome back to Silver Sage Reflections. Just an opportunity for this guy a little bit later in life to come on YouTube channel and maybe share some insights, some wisdom, some thoughts, and maybe just some silliness at times to help encourage seniors and near seniors towards their best days. Uh, you know, as we get closer here as we get into 2025, I don't know about you, but it seems like a stranger world than ever. Things are getting weirder every day. It seems like things don't make sense. Up is down, down is up, right is wrong, wrong is right. And if we're not careful, it can create some serious anxiety and stress in our lives. And what I hope this channel does over time is to give you a little breath of fresh air, maybe once a week, where we can think about something that's a little bit different, maybe apply a little bit of hope into those things, and maybe keep ourselves from wanting to jump off the cliff just because things are so crazy. We don't know where we're headed. So let's go back to the original reason for this video. So there are two lies that I believe that we bought since we were young. First lie is that there are accepted norms of behavior and we all need to strive to fit in, right? How many of us grew up feeling like you had to act a certain way all the time? It could have been based upon your faith. It could have been what was normal in your neighborhood. But regardless, it was always about striving to fit in and really not revealing our true selves. You know, anyone that was daring enough to venture outside, color outside the lines, was often met with things like, wow, that person's really weird, or they just don't fit in, whatever reason. But has that served us well? Right? Are there times when you look back on your life and say, you know what? I always felt like I was trying to be somebody I wasn't. Today, I feel like I'm trying to be somebody I'm not, and I'm not comfortable with it, and I'm getting tired of it. And I think that's where the truth lies. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit here today. What if you could go back and say, and try to connect the dots, if you will, of your childhood, you know, things that you liked that maybe were a little bit peculiar, the things that you kind of did in your room that, you know, maybe it was a game you enjoyed, maybe it was something you built, whatever it might be, but you were afraid that if anybody really found out about that, they would think I'm crazy and I just wouldn't fit in. Well, as we go into 2025, I'm going to challenge you at the end with a couple challenges here, but I think that our best opportunity for us to make 2025 our best year yet is to break through that, think on those things, and then write ourselves some good lists about what are those things that if I wasn't worried about what other people think, if I wasn't worried about money, whatever else, what are those things that I would be doing today that would really enable me to be the best version of who I am, be truly content with who I am as an individual, and just enjoy the time that I've got here. So as I read through there, and bear with me, I've got a couple notes here, and I'm also nursing a little bit of a cold here, January early cold. Okay, that these norms are being pushed by a power maybe that is in the world. Let's admit that. I don't want to sound conspiratorial, but there's somebody or something that's pushing these norms on us. It's certainly not our creator God who created each one of us to be unique, inspiring, to do those things that rightly align with the gifts and talents he's given us. So it's obviously some other force. So as we do that, we can either continue to go with the flow, put on airs, be a person that we don't really feel we are, that's not congruent with maybe who our true self is, or we can say, no, you know what, in 2025, stop, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do a deep, inventory of who I am. And when I say deep, don't get too stressed out over that. I mean deep, like make your lists, right? What are those things that you gravitate towards? What are those things that you love doing? What are those things that if the day, you start doing it, 4 hours, 5 hours have gone, and you didn't even realize the time has gone away. Those are the kind of things that I'm talking about, because I truly believe that if we could harness that energy and feel right in our minds, in other words, give us the permission to just do those things and say, you know what, doesn't matter what other people think, because other people don't know my circumstances, other people don't know me, and quite honestly, they probably don't even care about me, right? So why should I even be worried about that? But if we could take those passions and apply them, then I think we'd be living, or close maybe to living, our best versions of who we want to be, and we'll find an internal peace, right? And if we could find a way actually to take those passions and turn them into something that actually could be monetized, I think that's great as well. This is only my third YouTube channel, or third YouTube video on this channel. And I will tell you that I've just spent a lot of time researching what are happy people doing? What are people that are truly content and walking in their own skin doing that's unique to everyone else? And I think by and large, the overwhelming consensus is that they march to their own drum beat. Okay. So that's the first thing I would suggest. And then the second lie I've got here is probably a little bit similar, but did you, I know I did, prescribe to the whole notion of that life's journey happens this way, right? And it's been scripted out for me. So here's what it looked like. That you went to 12 years of public school, probably. It could be private school, but you went to 12 years of school and you graduated with a high school diploma. Then you went off to 4 years, maybe up to 8 years or even more than that, of secondary education so that you would learn a skill that you could take out into the marketplace and you could be a good worker bee for 40 years, earn a good wage, make up a good, quote, career, okay? Then retire and just spend the rest of your days just doing anything you couldn't do because you were so bloody busy doing your career and raising a family, doing all those other things. But now you got a problem, right? So you may have enough money to do what you want to do, and you may have enough time to do what you want to do, but here's the sad truth. Are you as healthy as you need to be to do the things you want to do? And why do we look back and say we spent all of the best years physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially really just building somebody else's career ladder, right? I know I'm guilty of that. I followed that hook, line, and sinker. And as I am here today, closer to 60 than I am 50, thinking about, wow, all that time I squandered. I don't do that with too much regret. I've had a wonderful life. I've raised a great family, and I've had great career moments. But if I'm honest, every moment I spent in my career was building somebody else's dream and not my own in many cases. And I'm at a point now where I'm exercising that and saying, hey, you know what? I don't want to be doing that anymore. There's too much that God has inspired me with, and there are too many friends, too many talents and gifts that are being squandered with each moment that I just live trying to appease other people and live their dreams. So the other thing I would like to question you or challenge you with for 2025 is, what if you also took that approach and said, no, you know what? Why did I buy all that? I'm not so sure that it has served me well. And if you feel this way, then I think this is the year that you say, enough, enough. What are some other things maybe that I've been told to just shut up, follow along, get in line, play your part, and what is that part, right? And think about schooling, a little bit more thought on that. So in schooling, right, we didn't honor the free thinkers, right? If you didn't score well on a test where they gave you the answers that had to be there, right, you were scored. And you were compared against other students who did better or worse with answering the questions that they gave us by way of what we call education, right? We were penalized if we were free thinkers, if we colored outside the lines, if maybe we acted out and shared a little bit of who we actually are as people, really as we were wired to be, right? It was usually, it ended up in a walk to to detention, to the principal's office, or certainly lousy grades. Maybe you have to repeat a class until we figured out exactly how to answer the questions as they wanted us to answer them, right? But we were never taught how to be free thinkers. And you know what? If you don't believe that's true, think about this for a moment. Did you ever question the classes you were in, right? How many times have you heard this kind of as a joke, but you probably said it too, or asked the question, Mom, why do I have to learn algebra? I'm never going to use it in my life. Or how is statistics ever going to serve me? I know I asked those questions, and as a dad, I'm embarrassed to say, I followed the line. And I would tell my kids, well, that's because that's the way it's supposed to be. Just get good grades and do your thing and be a good citizen and everything will work out. Well, has it? Yeah, and in many ways it has. I don't want to dispel many great blessings in my life again, but could it have been all that it could have been? And of the folks that are out there that are, I will say, killing it, and I don't necessarily mean just financially, but just really happy. They feel like life is, just working out in every way possible. Have they figured this out, right? Now, obviously, there's a whole faith component to this, and we can touch upon that a little bit. But those are two lies. Again, those lies specifically are lie number one. Are there accepted norms of behavior that we all need to strive towards to just fit in? And how's that affected us? And number two, has the respected life journey, as we learned it, of the 12 years of education, secondary education, career, this, that, and the other thing, proven to serve us well? So I don't think so. So as we go forward here, that's my challenge to you, is to think on that and set up your goals if you have them, your aspirations, those things you want to accomplish in 2025, but think from a blank canvas. Okay, so number one, I'd like to have you consider doing this. What if you were to take a blank sheet of paper and you wrote yourself a letter that's 5 years from now? So you date it January, today's the 5th. We'll say January 5th, 2029, and start it off like this. Wow, I can't believe all that has been accomplished in my life, all that I've done that makes me so happy in the last 5 years. And then finish that story and see what you tell yourself. I think that's a really good way for us to help to dream a little bit, to say, okay, what are those things that I would be really content with if I dreamed a little bit? Okay, and then the second thing that I'd like to challenge you with is to let's make this year a year where we promote hope, love, and joy to other people, right? There is enough bad news out there, and you know what? Unfortunately, the bad news is what gets on the microphones, it's what gets on the cameras. I'm asking you to please consider this. Is there something we could do every week to just pay random acts of kindness forward and just show love one to another, to show everybody that the world is not all that bad? It just seems that bad because of who we're listening to. Now, for the seniors and near seniors, I'd like to read a story to you that I think will be very encouraging. But I'm not going to give you the giveaway about who I'm speaking of. I want you to guess a little bit. You might figure it out halfway through this, but I'd ask you to kind of listen till the very end. I think it's a great story, something to remind us that, you know what, if you're still living, there's still more to do, okay? So I'm reading the notes here. So this particular person who I'm speaking about, at age 6, his dad died, dropped out of school in the 7th grade. By 17, he had been fired from his job 4 times. At 18, he was married. By 20, his wife left him with their daughter. By 22, he was a failed railroad conductor. He joined the Army, didn't make it. He applied for law school, wasn't accepted. Tried selling insurance. Like everything else, failed at that as well. At 40, he started selling a unique product at a service station and actually had a little bit of success, enough that he actually bought a hotel next to the service station. But both of them burned to the ground. He rebuilt them, only to be run out of business because of World War II. So by the age of 65, he was receiving $99 a month in Social Security. He had written his will because he was preparing to commit suicide when he had an inspiration. So his inspiration was that he knew he had a product that everyone loved, and he was going to make one more shot to make his life a success. So he left Kentucky, got in his car, and he drove across the United States. And 1,009 times he tried to sell his chicken recipe to restaurant owners, only to be shot down 1,009 times. Well, he kept going. So this is a great story, great example of persistence as well. So on his 1010th visit, he got a yes. Went into one restaurant, and then by the time he was 88, he was actually a multi-billionaire with 6,000 Kentucky Fried Chicken locations. Of course, we're talking about Colonel Sanders. That's a great story. But if he would have thrown the plug, thrown it all in at 65, well, first of all, he wouldn't have that great chicken. But also, right, he would have left this life not having fully completed maybe the task that was given to him or laid out before him. So on that note, I'm going to ask you guys, be encouraged. Let's look at 2025 as a great year for us to encourage one another. The world may be getting weirder, but I also want to finish with this, right? Part of the reason I'm hopeful is because I've committed my life to the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, Jesus Christ, and I would encourage you to do the same thing. All right, till we see you again, God bless.